All right, can you hear me? Okay, so first let me start off by saying hello to my opponent for this debate, Sword Words. Next, I will start with stating the resolution and how I interpret it. So the resolution states World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE is not fake. In order to win this debate, I must come up with at least one reason to give the audience and judges a reasonable doubt that WWE is is fake. Now I will get to my definition of fake, which is the key word in this resolution. So Merriam-Webster defines fake as one that is not what it purports to be, such as a worthless imitation passed off as genuine. Example one would be a fake signature. Example two, example he told everyone that he was a lawyer, but he was just a fake. The example I have used should be the accepted definition, much because when most people refer to WWE as fake, they are implying that it is trying to pass itself off as something that it is not. So next, I want to show some visual aids of sorts. So to prove my point, that will drive home my interpretation of the resolution and my cited definition. So visual aid number one. Visual aid number one is this right here. This is a plastic imitation WWE Championship belt. See, plays music, and this belt is passed off as genuine. This one cost me about $25. So visual aid number two comes in a nice case. Oh, a lot more. So this one is a genuine WWE Championship belt, which cost me $500. So to pass the difference, fake belt $25, plastic, fake, trying to pass itself off as a real belt. Real belt $500, genuine. So when we talk about this, WWE is not trying to pass itself off as anything that it's not. It is what it is. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass the mic on to my opponent.
Oh, right. Wow. Did not expect to see a genuine WWE belt. Very, very nice. Okay. So I used to be a big fan of WWF when it was WWF back in the day. And so kind of grew up watching it, and I even went to an event. Didn't go as far as to actually get a belt. That's higher level than wherever I was. But we're talking about, is it true or is it fake? Is it and that's a simple question. So let's try to dive into this. So about a year ago, I would engage frequently in shootouts. So after strategizing with my squad, we would set up a little strategy, invade the enemy territory, and then do our best to light them up. It wouldn't be too long before a volley of projectiles would be flying back and forth. And if you got hit, you would just go back to your base, because really it was just a bunch of Nerf darts in what we were having, what we called Nerf wars. So was it a real war? No, of course not. But if it wasn't real, then what was it? If we're going to be kind of nice about it, we would say, well, it's fun and play, but otherwise we know it's just a mockery. It's a mockery of what real warfare truly is. And so if it's not authentic and it's not real, then it's fake. So the question is WWE, is it real or is it fake? And I do think we can find elements of authenticity in it, but also elements that are just simply inauthentic and fake. So one thing my opponent mentioned was, and then correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you said just need to find one reason why it's not fake, and that would win the case. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So I don't know if I misheard. But I want to talk about a few authentic elements of WWE. And one of these it's an authentic business. It's an authentic business with a business model. It makes money. It's profitable. That's true, and that's real. It provides entertainment. It can be very entertaining. You have people that have been lifelong fans, and that tune into these things, that know who all the wrestlers are. I mean, I got out of it back when it was like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, like before he turned bad, right? And so, and the people, right? These are real wrestlers. These are real athletes. And in my next turn, I'm going to go into the things which are not so authentic. So I'm going to pass the mic.
Okay, so my reason number one that WWE is not fake. So if it is fake, what is it passing itself as an imitation of? As in, if it's fake, it's a fake what? So I showed you the toy belt that I showed first. Then I showed you the authentic belt. So the fake belt is passing itself off as an authentic belt, and I showed you the different ones. So in the United States, there are about 50 professional wrestling promotions. There's All American Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling, Innovative Wrestling, Revolutionary Championship Wrestling, Full Impact Pro, just to name a few. So, of all the pro wrestling promotions, WWE is the largest. It's a publicly traded company, and it has sales revenue of about 700 million each of the last 3 years. Okay, so in the professional wrestling industry, WWE is at the top of the pyramid. It is the trendsetter. So in the category of professional wrestling, it does not imitate any others. It is the imitated brand that other professional wrestling venues aspire to be like. So it cannot be an imitation of something or be fake of something if it is the trendsetter itself. And also, when you bring up the thing you brought up before about, say, Nerf guns and Nerf wars and stuff like that, that is Nerf wars, like you with the Nerf gun or something like that, imitating real war. WWE, on the other hand, is not imitating anything. Like I said, it is what it is. So just for that right there, when we talk about something that's fake and something that's trying to imitate something else, due to the fact WWE is not imitating anything else. If anything, it is the thing that is being imitated. It cannot be fake. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass to my opponent.
Okay, so let's get on to the things that are not authentic about WWE. And this is what I feel like is going to be the answer to your question as far as what does it imitate. Well, what does the second W stand for? It's World Wrestling Entertainment. And therein lies the rub of what Coattails is trying to hold on to for authenticity. So what is wrestling? We go back to, the ancient Greco-Roman times, and where wrestling developed as a recognized sport and competition. And it's simply the sport of grappling and attempting to gain a dominant position on an opponent. But within every sector of sports, it's assumed that both opponents have a genuine intent to win. And because of that, the victor cannot be fully determined until the conclusion of the match. And so that is the answer to the question. What does World Wrestling Entertainment attempt to imitate? Well, it's attempting to give it an appearance of genuine competition that we know, that we've come to know and appreciate, or which drives the current of the entire sports world. Whether you're talking about cricket or soccer or highlight or lacrosse, it's that genuine competition, and that is the core thing that WWE cannot hold on to. They cannot claim that they have a genuine competition because every match is scripted. They know, they both competitors go in knowing exactly who is going to win. They probably don't have all the moves, probably have a few clear stunts mapped out. But as far as that, it's a lot of improvisation to generate entertainment, get a good, get the crowd into it. But all in all, it's a mockery of what true competition is. And that's not the point. The point isn't to provide a competition, which I understand, but that's where the fake element is. And that's just one of the many that drive the whole entertainment machine. Names, personalities, plot lines, rivalries, relationships, these big name guys with their mini harem of hotties, the punches, the many moves such as the pile driver, the DDT, concealed razor blades to where the wrestlers cut themselves to give the appearance of, a more extreme appearance, exaggerated reactions. But on top of it all, it's an inauthentic competition that they try to give an appearance to.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to hit everything you said, and so first I want to say that so WWE does not attempt to pass itself off as anything other than what it is. It's it is a performance art, much like ballet. So to say that it's fake is like calling ballet fake. So and then when you bring up wrestling in the word wrestling, so there is collegiate amateur wrestling and there's professional wrestling. Never has a professional wrestling venue ever tried to pass itself off as college wrestling. So collegiate wrestling has no ropes, no rings, no belts, no use of chairs, no use of steel cages, no tag team divisions. It literally has nothing in common with collegiate wrestling except the word wrestling in a title. So if we're going to go off just that the word wrestling is in World Wrestling Entertainment, then you have collegiate wrestling and they have the same word wrestling, then by that same judgment, then you have to say that like baseball is a fake ball because they both have the word ball in it. So it's important that when you're looking at this, that professional wrestling doesn't try to pass itself off as college wrestling, just like college wrestling doesn't try to pass itself off as professional wrestling. The venues are completely different. The only thing they have in common is the word wrestling. And I want to bring up another definition. So the definition of pro wrestling. So we have like college wrestling, and then we have the definition of pro wrestling, which is the venue that WWE finds itself in. That's the industry that WWE is in. And so the definition of pro wrestling is a form of performance art which combines athletics with theatrical performance. And that is exactly what WWE, with the venue that it's in. Now, when you're talking about, like I said, so the major point that I keep trying to prove when we're talking about WWE and why WWE is not fake, it's if you go to WWE and you're expecting something else, like say you're expecting college wrestling, then it's possible that you call it fake. But yeah, if you went to WWE and you expected basketball, if you went to WWE and expected football, of course you'd be disappointed. But the thing is, if you go to WWE expecting professional wrestling, which is what it is, then it is very authentic. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass the mic on to my opponent.
Okay, I agree with you that if you go to pro wrestling expecting, genuine competition, you're gonna, or anything other than what you're gonna see, then you're gonna be so disappointed. The same way if I'm watching, say, you know, X Files, and come to find out that the aliens weren't real, that it was just a fictional show, right? Of course, that's what they build themselves at. They don't build themselves um, as a act or entertainment based on genuine competition. In fact, when you remove the idea of having a mutual genuine competition between opponents, then that's what opens it up for all these, all the flair, all these crazy moves to set up and the long drawn out matches that would never, play out, things that we never see in UFC for obvious reasons. Now, I would disagree that just equating it to, college wrestling. It's not about equating it to collegiate wrestling. And the analogy of assuming that baseball would be a mockery of basketball just because they share the word ball, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what distinguishes these sports, they all have their certain parameters. But what the common thread through every sport contest is the genuine competition aspect of knowing that both teams are attempting to win, and it's unpredictable about with who's going to win. And so WWE certainly falls outside of that arena, and that it is scripted. It's scripted to provide entertainment, but because it's scripted, obviously it's unauthentic, and one could press the issue that it is in fact fake. Now, we the and that's underscored by they used to be considered a sport. It used to be lumped in to the same regulations that other sports were. But in 1989, February 10th, 1989, which was also the same year that Milli Vanilli got busted for their fake performance, that Vince McMahon, I think I'm saying that right. He's defined it as an activity in which participants struggle hand in hand primarily for the purpose of providing entertainment to spectators rather than conducting a bona fide athletic contest. Rather than conducting a bona fide athletic contest, therefore sealing the deal that this in fact is not real and is mainly for entertainment. And he did that actually to get out of regulation to make more money. And so obviously profits were already churning. And I'm going to turn this mic back to you.
Okay, so this is where and I guess I don't want to say that you and I have two different two different kind of impressions of WWE. So when you bring up the same thing, when you bring up the Nerf gun, and the Nerf gun is trying to pass itself off as fake war when you're doing like Nerf wars and stuff like that. The same way when you bring up Milli Vanilli, who's trying to pass themselves off as real singers, uh, there's a big difference between what WWE does. So you bring up something that's like years ago, which is, I don't have anything to dispute what happened years ago, because all I can say is that we're talking about, at that point, if I want to be technical about it, that was World Wrestling Federation, not the World Wrestling Entertainment. And the topic of this debate is World Wrestling Entertainment. So, and then when we talk about sports competition, and you say about the sports competition that is scripted. Now, the thing is that WWE, it doesn't market itself as like a sports competition. When you dwell on that world, that the word, and you said wrestling, and that was a word you keyed in on. Let's move to the next word, which is entertainment. So it doesn't really sell itself as a sports competition. It sells itself as sports entertainment, which that's how most people is sports entertainment, which goes back to the definition that I gave you of pro wrestling, which is the genre that WWE finds itself in, a form of performance art which combines athletics with theatrical performance, which is what WWE does. So it doesn't market itself as a sports competition like football or basketball. It markets itself as sports entertainment, which it meets that. So it's like and I'll bring up Star Wars. Yes. So Star Wars is a movie within the science fiction genre. So uh when it markets this, if you went to Star Wars and say they said Star Wars released itself as a biography of Luke Skywalker, then you find out Luke Skywalker never existed. Yes, you can say Star Wars is fake, but WWE is an organization that operates in the professional wrestling genre, and in that case, it fits exactly what the definition of wrestling of what pro wrestling is. And like I said, it doesn't market itself as a sports competition like football or basketball. It sells itself as sports entertainment. So in a genre, the definitions and everything, and the mere fact that it doesn't actually try to replicate anything else, it is its own entity, all in of itself. It can't be fake. And I'll go ahead and pass the mic back to my opponent.
So from what I'm hearing, you're making a distinction between what makes it authentic or real is because it's not attempting to pass itself off as something other than it's not. And yes, Milli Vanilli did that, and they got busted big time. Ashley Simpson also had a little snafu on Saturday Night Live where her little lip sync track started playing out of order. That was 2004. But these days, Jimmy Fallon has his lip sync battles going on, which are, it's just good show business. It's a happening thing. But just because Jimmy Fallon's being upfront and we know that it's not genuine singing, does that make it any more real? No, it's just, sure, it's real lip syncing, but it's based off of what an authentic, authentic songs that other singers professionally sang. And that's WWE. It hangs on the coattails of genuine competition to a degree, and I'm not saying it completely holds on to the coattails here, but that's a good portion of what builds the act. And I know people don't go. Most people probably do not go expecting to see solid, genuine competition. It's more about just a show that it provides. But same thing when you go to a play. It's a play. It's acting. It's not real. Same thing with 90% of the shows on TV. Nat Geo, right? I'm watching nature documentaries, and I'm expecting that to be reality. Now, just because you have some elements of that aren't authentic, that are fake, and you combine those with elements that are real, does that make the whole thing real? Well, let me ask you a question. Would you give your wife a partially fake diamond ring? Half diamond, half cubic zirconia, trying to shave off a little, green, keep a little in the pocket. Would you eat a burger that was half meat and half plastic? Something that was half real and half inauthentic? I don't think so. And so so what are we left with when we're talking about WWE? Yes, it requires real athleticism. Yes, it requires a business model and people behind the scenes to make it happen, to turn a profit. But when the matches, which are the main part of the show, are simply scripted events, and we know that the actors themselves are acting, and the whole list that I gave you about the plot lines, rivalries, and relationships and personalities was just drive the machine, those being acted and inauthentic and ungenuine, where does that leave us? How can you say that it's real with all these other unreal elements?
Okay, so let me try to unpack all this. You covered a lot of stuff this last time. So okay, so first let me start off with you bring up Jimmy Fallon and his lip sync battle. Okay, so it depends on how you judging this, whether you say lip sync battle is real or fake or something like that. So you have to realize that once again, when you watch an episode of Jimmy Fallon, he's talking about this is a lip sync battle. You go there expecting lip sync battle, as in you expect the word is in the title, lip sync battle. So you expect somebody to be lip syncing. Okay. Now, so in that case, it is an authentic and a real lip sync battle. Now, when you talk about the fake diamond ring, once again, if I give my wife a fake diamond ring, that is, I'm just assuming that's the point you were trying to say, that would be me trying to pass off a fake diamond ring as a real diamond ring. And I go back to WWE. WWE, it does not, there never has been a time that somebody comes and says, "Hey, right now, I'm telling you this right here. This is a real fight right now, and this is a real fight, and this is real and authentic." No, much like an opera, much like ballet, you go there for entertainment. And like I said, that's why in the title it is World Wrestling Entertainment. The most important part is the entertainment, and it's the most important. People know that it's a scripted drama, and that's why people tune in. They tune in for that scripted drama to see the underdog come back, the Daniel Bryan, the underdog, to come back and be able to beat Triple H in WrestleMania. It's the reason why you go there. And like I said, if you go there expecting college wrestling, then yes, you'll be disappointed and you can say it's fake. But that's like if you go there expecting basketball. WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, and professional wrestling as a whole, the over 50 different regions and different companies that they have in the United States, they don't bill themselves as this is college wrestling. And that's why I say that it can't be fake, because it can't be fake if it's not trying to imitate something else. If I come there and I say, like I brought up opera and ballet, they're not trying to pass themselves off as an authentic, like this is really Julius Caesar or something like that. No, you go there for the entertainment aspect of it, which is the same thing with WWE. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and let's see, fake diamond ring, lip sync battle, sports competition versus sports entertainment. WWE is sports entertainment. With that being said, I'll go ahead and pass this back and give my closing comments, because I think I have 2 minutes left.
Okay, so you mentioned ballet. Ballet doesn't mimic anything. It doesn't hang on the coattails. It's just another style of dance, an expression of athletic performance, which closer resembles to what pro wrestling is, or WWE wrestling is, because it's more of actually it has some parallels. I shouldn't have brought that up, but anyway, it has some parallels, but at the same time, when you compare it to what true competition is, then it begins to fail. Now, It's not. I appreciate your comments and distinguishing, giving a fake diamond ring, having an intent to deceive. WWE laying their intentions kind of on the table. That's good. That's good that they're not intentionally deceiving, but it's nature, not intent, which dictates what's real versus fake. And when we talk about the idea of going back to the word wrestling in the name, it's having a it's pulling from the integrity of the actual sport of wrestling to give credence, I believe, to what is actually happening on the stage. And of course, that gives it an appearance of credibility, but what's actually happening is not to say that that's what people are going for, but just the name itself gives an impression that there's wrestling happening, that it is a sport, that it is a genuine thing, when in fact it's simply an athletic soap opera replete with scripted drama. And everyone knows, well, not everyone knows, but the inside people already know who is going to come out on top. So in regards to how it's a trendsetter, you mentioned that being at the top of the pyramid. Well, I agree. It's at the top of the pyramid in its sphere, but it's at the top of the pyramid of those leading what it looks like to have this imitation sport of that's based on not that's based on inauthentic competition, but primarily driven for entertainment purposes. And so it's definitely, I don't look at it as in, some kind of scam or some kind of scandal, because it's pretty forthright and it's fairly known about what they represent. Although when Vince McMahon made his announcement back in '89, many within the circle of the pro wrestling world felt he had betrayed the mystique of the sport, because that mystique gave some kind of authenticity to it. And so regarding the top head honcho over the whole thing saying that it was fake, that's what I'm going to go out as.
Okay, once again, I'm going to go back to my visual aids over here. So this is a fake belt right here, and it's fake because it's trying to pass itself off as this awesome $500 heavy belt that I need two hands to do right here. So as you see, look, I don't know if you can hear how that metal sounds right there, but that is why it's fake, because it's passing itself off as something else. If it can't be fake if it does not attempt to replicate something different. It can't be fake if it is actually the thing that is being imitated by the rest of the organizations that identify as professional wrestling organizations. Based on the definition of professional wrestling, WWE meets the definition. Ballets are not considered to be fake. Operas are not considered to be fake. No one watches Star Wars then says, "Oh my God, that is fake." Star Wars doesn't promote itself as a bibliography of a person who actually existed, just like WWE doesn't try to pass itself off as an authentic sports competition. It markets itself, even in the name, wrestling entertainment. And that's the industry that it's in, and that's the industry that it thrives. If you go to a WWE event or any kind of professional wrestling event and you expect something different, then of course you're going to be disappointed. But that's the thing. WWE doesn't try to promote itself or sell itself as something different. I'm trying to make sure I caught everything. Once again, definition of pro wrestling: a form of performance art which combines athletics with theatrical performance, and that is where the WWE is. I think I'm about to start repeating myself over and over again. And then the thing is that when he's talked about wrestling. Okay, so and I hate to do this. I don't want to do this with you only having 2 seconds left. But the thing about when you say wrestling, and you have to be able to separate wrestling from what you expect to be as a competition. Nobody is going to say that wrestling doesn't actually take place in WWE. There's your gold medal winner. I can't think of his name right now. I know somebody's going to watch this and be like, "I can't believe you forgot his name." But actual wrestling does take place in the matches. So even in that aspect is not fake. But if you want to talk about the competition is not real, well, it doesn't bill itself as real competition. It considers itself to be wrestling entertainment, wrestling performance art which combines athletics with theatrical performance. And based off everything that I just said in my closing comments, WWE is not fake.